Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to another recording of Hearthstone. So we need to get, let's go ahead and play Warrior or Rogue for a while. So I'm at rank 18 here. I'm going to go back to standard play rank and we'll see if Warrior standard can do anything for us. We need victories, and even though we trade things out and they have these 35 new quests, you still end up potentially running into characters that want to give us more and more victories.
You asked for it.
I've got still a lot of things to talk about, but I never really know what the right amount of stories to talk about are. Like, should I talk about watching the movie Embers on Netflix? It was an interesting movie in which you were in this world where people just forgot things after a few seconds. So people would walk away and they would totally forgotten where they came from or what they were doing. They have like no long-term memory at all. And it tells several different stories of several different characters, and it really doesn't resolve or do anything with it. It even shows a character that's been quarantined and has their memory, and it really doesn't do anything with it. It's like the setup to a movie series or something with nothing else happening. So it was rated 2 stars on Netflix, and I probably would give it about 2 stars. It was an interesting concept that resolved nothing and made some arguments that I'm not sure I particularly agree with. Because there was like one guy who would repeat the same thing over and over again, trying to remember things, and he wasn't remembering anything. He was just doing the same action over and over again, and that was almost all of the characters, though they were doing the same actions over and over again. Let's see, do I want to do this?
Strike!
There we go. But moving back to video games, the inventor of EverQuest has a new game called Hero Song. It looks old. It looks what I assume like what EverQuest 1 would look like. I seem to vaguely recall EverQuest had been purchased by another company, and they're not really doing a ton of good things with it, because what Skyrim is EverQuest. It's the same thing. Style of game, so the fact that you have a 3D version of realistic animation in Skyrim, and Bethesda does it, and frankly Bethesda does it rather poorly, because they make the game very buggy and there's not really a reason or rhyme to do half the things in the game. So there's definitely elements there that
Well played.
turn around and show that you could do better than a Bethesda game. And Fallout 4 is even better than Skyrim, at least for its base construction abilities, because the Hearthstone DLC is kind of ridiculous. It's telling you that the DLC lets you build your own house, but you really aren't deciding where things go that much or anything like that. This into turn. So yeah, we could have a better fantasy RPG game without going the Warcraft element, where Warcraft is top down and mostly top down, and it's too intricate and it's too much of a MMO. So I think there's a solution somewhere at the end of the day that
Job done.
where EverQuest could exist. They are making some new EverQuest thing in the same, but I think it's kind of in the same vein as Skyrim or Elder Scrolls Legacy.
That
Elder
belongs
Scrolls
in a
Online.
museum.
There's just small, low effort, almost free to play games where you need higher effort. I'm not sure exactly what I want to on this. I think maybe what I want is every slightly more than 5 years to play an Elder Scrolls game, and that's it. I don't think I can stand much more of that style of gameplay in my life. Particularly since Skyrim right now is just a pain in the behind. Ironically, it's a literal pain in the behind because sitting so much has started hurting me. So I hope Hero's Song might be something of interest, but I doubt it will. It doesn't seem like its 2D graphics would catch people's attentions. And here I've dropped my pen, so I don't have a way to put it right down. Anything there? Let's see. This and this and this.
Job done.
And then you change. Ah, there's the pen. I put it over there. And black on black piece of plastic stylus on a black tablecloth. So, next story, going from the bottom. I guess it doesn't really matter what order I'm going from because I just wrote these kind of. Well, actually, I probably am going in backwards of chronological order slightly. But
Amazing.
the DRM de Nouveau has been spotted in Dishonored 2 and what was the other game? Planet Coaster, yes. So de Nouveau, from what I hear, checks with the server when you're connected and then gives you a couple of weeks before it checks again. And I suppose if it couldn't connect to that server for one reason or the other, then you are eventually not going to be able to play your game. The other element there is also that it watches the executables and all that, so you can't do things like mods easily. And I don't know how much that's true. Let's see. I already talked about the Steam Store UI being upgraded. There's not really a lot to say about that. DRM, by the way, on the previous topic, is always garbage, is always going to be garbage. On my vote video, one of the polls is what's your favorite love-hate relationship, and one of the choices was DRM versus DLC versus several other things, but like pre-order culture and all that. And I think DRM is one of my pet peeves, although I kind of hate them all almost equally. But DRM in particular threatens your ability to play a game and makes your game play and perform more often than not for the privilege they've paid for. Ironically, the people who pirate the games often don't have to deal with the DRM, and the game runs better. So anywho, moving on to the next thing, the Gwent creator, so the guy in The Witcher, who is the lead designer of Gwent, has left CD Projekt Red. And when whatever website I was reading this from asked him why he left, he said, ask CD Projekt Red, and CD Projekt Red sent back this kind of boilerplate response that they mutually decided to part ways, which frankly sounds like he got fired.
Someday I'll be just
I don't
like
think
you.
CD Projekt Red is going out of business, although they were going to try and shore up and help fight against a hostile takeover. But they're doing that Cyberpunk 2020 game. We're working on that right now. And I'm gonna leave here.
Job done.
And there's really no reason for them to part. Now, kind of the weird thing about somebody getting fired at CD Projekt Red is they're like Swedes, and they're all kind of laid back, relaxed style of people. So you would have had to done something really, really bad. and again, this can only be speculation. I don't even know that he really was fired. You would have had to irritate the wrong person to get fired, particularly since he's the lead designer. So I don't know. This is a story that smells like there might be more of a story there. Will we ever get it? Unfortunately, probably not. Let's see. Moving on. Nostralius has threatened to release its source code. Nostralius is a group of it's a project to make a group of pirate legacy World of Warcraft servers because people want to play the legacy World of Warcraft things, and they got sued and shut down by Blizzard, and they were kind of waiting, and they talked to Blizzard. Blizzard invited them to have a conversation, and they were kind of waiting to see if they were going to announce some kind of Blizzard legacy server. Now, in a weird way, this is kind of what Blizzard was trying to protect by shutting them down in the first place, was to say, if we want just our normal players to play current WoW, we don't want to lose our market share to people playing pirate servers that are the legacy WoW. And if we want to serve customers the legacy WoW experience, we don't want that diluted by some pirate servers that have been doing it for years. All on the face of them, legitimate arguments, certainly. But then they kind of didn't do anything, at least not on Nostralius' timeline, which, whatever. So now they're threatening and saying that they may release their source code. One of the stories I've seen is that they aren't going to probably ever remake Warcraft 1 because frankly Warcraft 1 and Warcraft 2 also isn't going to get made. Frankly, they have all the sources for it, but they're old. They've forgotten how to program like for that level of programming, and the game's not really that fun. So Blizzard has no plan to re-release Warcraft 1. Now, arguably, I would agree with them that Warcraft 1 and Warcraft 2 probably isn't that fun. To say that they're not going to do anything with it is probably an exaggeration and not what they said, though. They still want Warcraft to be part of their base of the World of Warcraft series, and they could probably put better versions of all the campaigns from Warcraft 1 in World of Warcraft and being happy with that. In the same way that they're putting Diablo 1 as its own expansion in Diablo 3, which is the next thing I have here, and now I'm just breezing through these topics, and so I'm going to have to slow down somehow to even go to recordings, which, So, the problem that they've revealed with the Diablo 1 remade and Diablo 3, it's not the same game, by far, obviously, but the thing that's come about is you have to have beaten the main game of Diablo 3 first, the main storyline. So you need a level 70 character to play the Diablo 1 thing. And, oh, by the way, they suggest that at that point you respec and start with a new character. But you can't access that level until you've done the main story. And it really puts just an axe through the idea of covering it as its own separate thing, because now I would have to do so much more work.
I have an axe to grind.
I would have to cover whatever Diablo 3 is right now before I could do Diablo 1. Or I could just go get my CDs of Diablo 1 out of my garage and see if those could install and play, and then play the game as it originally was. Now, the question that the interviewer should have asked, which would have been funny, is if the remake of Diablo 1 will have the secret cow level. Because there was no secret cow level in Diablo 1. They put one in after hearing the joke that players were telling their friends there was a secret cow level on forums and stuff. Once they heard that joke, they decided to put one in the second game, but the first version didn't have one. So propagating that joke would be kind of funny. Unfortunately, yeah, I am so short on topics to talk about, and we have 10 more minutes here. So what do we want to do? Do we want to cover everything? I guess that's might as well. And I may just decide to go short here. Since this is the election, I prefer to be listening to those results, just because that'll be fun and it will give me something to do while I'm scheduling videos. I also need to run my macro again. I'm gonna have to run that every few weeks of just going through videos and putting in the end screen. There's no default there. I could make it part of my experience, certainly, though. I could...
Back to work!
Stop moving!
So, let's just move forward. There's only 3 things left. I can't believe I did that, but this is what I'm talking about. A story is just a sentence on my board, and I don't have the skill as a critic or whatever I am. I am a critic or a speaker. I just don't have that skill to sit here and keep the conversation stretched out longer and longer and longer, because while actually not saying anything. I need to learn to be like a politician, I suppose, and just talk for 2 hours and not actually have said anything. Anyways, the next thing on my list is the latest Rust update has removed the XP system and the leveling system. They felt it was going in the wrong direction. Now, Rust is
I have an
an
axe to
interesting game to say the least. There's just very little getting around that argument. As I understand it, running around in Rust, you kind of get around on servers, and it's a lot of servers interaction.
Maybe. No.
It was kind of a YouTube based type video for a while. I was watching some people play Rust, but because it doesn't really add anything to it fast enough, I don't think a solution that can be made in time for there. It is Minecraft, but it's an adult version of Minecraft where you're collecting wood and stones, and you start off the game naked, and you have to put on clothes as by crafting it. And the idea of dying,
Maybe. No.
and then maintaining a level that allowed you to craft more items after you'd found blueprints for it, probably is the wrong direction for what the community has made that game more than the actual game developers. Now, on the full face of it, I still kind of feel like Rust is just one of those games where you shouldn't play it because the actual game creator is not going to ever finish it or do anything good with it. Alright. Let's see. So let's see. This one. That one. And end the turn.
Job's done.
End the turn. So, I would like to see more happen with this, but first of all, you have to get over the nakedness, and I think the nakedness in general is gonna be problematic on YouTube, even if it's blurred. Let's see, let's move on to this. NVIDIA experience is not spying on you. There was a Reddit post of just like somebody took a URL from NVIDIA's website, it seems, and it said on their websites they may be tracking what you're doing and sharing with their partners, and then they applied that to the NVIDIA experience. At a certain level, yes, you still have to trust them. Whatever the URL, the EULA says,
You asked
the
for
user
it.
license agreement. Whatever that says doesn't really matter, and they can be doing whatever they want. And so many people could be spying on you, and you can only be so paranoid about things like this until you are certifiably paranoid and spending way too much of your energy trying to avoid things. But as far as the end user's license agreement on NVIDIA experience, they are scanning the games on your hard drive, obviously, what you tell them to scan. The system doesn't work that way. They are scanning your hardware profile to make the best suggestion as to what video card you should use, obviously, because otherwise they wouldn't know what video cards to give you. They might be scanning what Windows version you're using. They might be scanning what browsers you have installed. I don't think they're even doing browsers though. Yeah, that's not what the article said. So I'm adding things here that I don't know anything about. My point is, I'll retract them like this game. I'll just retract that right now. That they might be scanning what browsers. My point is, it seems all very much on the up and up. The NVIDIA experience, you have a lot more to be mad about it by the fact that you have to have an account with them on their website more than anything else. And if you wanted to avoid the NVIDIA experience completely, fine. Install the graphics cards manually and deal with that hassle.
En passant.
I use NVIDIA Experience and I find it not very helpful actually, because it gets barely 1 out of every 100 games. So the compatible games that it works with is really small. So it's worked with Skyrim Special Edition, it works with Hearthstone, it's worked with Stardew Valley, and it has something to do with Portal, but I don't have Portal fully installed, so it's never actually even successfully adjusted that. And in the past 4 or 5 months, that's the only apps it's even touched.
What
And
now?
Ready to flee!
for a YouTuber who's probably gone through 20 plus video games, 4 or 5 of them, you're talking quarter success rate. So I could certainly see the argument of not having it installed. On the other hand, it gets into the programs and messes with the config files in ways that I can't be certain I could do correct. So I enjoy the idea of somebody else being in charge of that stuff.
It's time for a little blood. Stop moving!
Here.
Job's done.
And finally, the Starbreeze owner, Starbreeze Studios, the Swedish company that is the owner of Payday, has come up with and announced a indie publishing label. So I like the idea of more companies in different countries, more diversity in general in the video games we get, and they get published. But there is a slight fear here, since they are the owner of Payday, and I don't think they've really released too many other games, and that's what they're trying to do here. Payday had a lot of like things promised in it, from what I remember, and it was a game I looked at covering because Payday 2 was coming out, or has recently come out, and I eventually just had to say, no, I don't think I want to actually bother with covering this game, because its ratings isn't that good, and it's got some kind of like free-to-play elements in a $60 game, like another one of those NFTs or something like that in it. Something that certainly irritated a lot of players, and they may have made some promises to make it right, and it doesn't seem like they did it right. And then that eliminates my list, and I guess just after this game I'm just going to end it. Let's see, draw 3 cards, put any minions on you have it in your hand. Let's put this guy on the table.
Job done.
I desperately need to figure out what to do when I have nothing to talk about, because I'm gonna have a diminishing returns on Hearthstone videos, definitely. That being said, I don't know.
It's time for a little blood.
Maybe I'll just make the video shorter. Maybe I'll just miss some days. There's no great way to even make it work where you would miss a few days, or miss one day and then get back on track, and then miss another day and a short time later.
Job's done.
Mine! All mine!
So they can do 8 damage here, and then that would kill him. So they can clear the board by killing my guy, or they can try something different. If I get to the 10th turn, this card probably guarantees victory.
I hope you like my invention.
I'm looking forward to Gadget Sand when it comes out. Now they figured something out.
Handle it!
Come on. Are you gonna play or are you gonna
Time runs out on me.
run out of time? That'd be fun if they ran out of time. Let's see.
Tonight, a tale of wonder and magic.
It's time for a little blood.
And play
All
this.
realities, all dimensions are open to me.
So I have 1, 2, 3, 4 damage. So I could save myself 4 damage by killing this guy right now. Or I could save myself 5 damage by killing this guy. So I imagine this is a better move.
Job's done.
And in the turn. I just need one more turn and I probably win. Six, 7, 8, 9, 10. We're having to calculate all of the health here.
Time runs out on me.
Interesting choice. Alright, 10th turn. Guaranteed taunt character or this.
Behold the armies of Stormwind.
Simple fool.
Job's done.
So unless he draws a card or can do something, I think I'm good.
Handle it!
I can play that. I think he just won. He just won. Darn it! Darn it, darn it. So I'm gonna take this as an opportunity to play on casual going forward. Not do another episode and just sit back and relax. We've got a lot of work ahead of me, and here it is 8:21. The clocks were set back, so it is effectively 9:21 for me, as I'm still trying to adjust to that. And I've got to get 1 Shaman and Warlock victory and 4 Rogue and Warrior victories. This is going to be a while. This is going to be a while, and I don't have anything else to talk about. So that's going to be it for this recording session. Just 2 recordings this time. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment if you want to, and watch every second of my videos. All of that helps out. If you want to support me further, you can go to my main YouTube page. On the right, there's a blue button that says support this channel. Click it, make a donation. And if you want to friend or follow me on basically any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.